That was your Northwoods update on WIKB WFVR. I'm Jim Haney reporting.
Now, here's Dr. Larry.
Did you know? Let's go.
You've waited all week.
Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health.
Live in the WIKB studios, this is Dr. Larry.
Well, thank you for the flex capacitor read. Hello again, everybody. Okay, let's get it started. Well, as you know, every show builds on the next. Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health. Now, in case any of you missed it, last week we talked about water. It was an important week to be tuned in because we learned and defined about what's in your water that you drink. Because let's face it, it's more than it looks good or doesn't stink. So here it is again. Water. We drink it, we play in it, we bathe in it. We do a lot with water. Now, as a general rule of thumb, we can go without food for a while, but when it comes to water, after about 3 days, our bodies begin to haze. And just like your brown hair or blue eyes, water has its own physical characteristics, which are in the ground and up in the skies. So when it comes to water, we need to be crystal clear on this substance that's both far and near. Why? Well, whatever is in the water we drink, our soil, or in the lakes where we have fun or toil, that water and what's in it will be absorbed in us. Therefore, it's good to know if something will give our intestines a fuss. But there's no way we can become chemists or biologists overnight. So thankfully, there are water professionals who their entire business revolves around water. So pay close attention to our last week's guest. She's an owner of a special type of water testing facility, which was the main focus of the show last week. And for the sake of simplicity, we called the segment Ask the Owner. Listen to this final clip. The levels that you've seen, lead, arsenic, uranium, have you seen some pretty startling levels?
Yes. Lead levels, we had a sample. The lead level was 2,700 micrograms per liter in this drinking water sample. It was for a real estate situation. So fortunately, they were checking it before the actual purchase of the property. And that same sample also had copper in it. The copper registered at 63,000 micrograms per liter. You know, micrograms are pretty small, but when the EPA primary drinking water limit on copper is 1,300, and you're coming in at 63,000,
there's a problem.
Yes, you don't want to drink that water.
Would it taste different at that level? Would you think?
I would think it would have a metallic taste, but that I'm not certain of. We certainly don't drink any of the water samples that come in.
Understood, but to that extent, it's possible that it could be ignored. Somebody be like, did you notice that water's tasting a little metallically? And then body gets used to it. The taste buds get used to it.
Right. People
almost like a processed food, just to kind of bring that back around, right? You know, if you constantly consume processed foods and stop for a while. In fact, we've done these little fun experiments at our house too. Like we've gone on a cleanse. Not that we eat a ton of processed food, but I'll just say like chocolate, and I'm not going to name the brand, but we'll go on a cleanse, like eliminate chocolate, coffee, whatever, and then we'll go back to like, I'm gonna have a little chocolate. I like dark chocolate. And the first thing you notice on certain brands, wow, that tastes really like chemical. You know, like this chemical versus if you go to more of like a pure chocolate. So that's kind of what my point is your taste buds can get desensitized to some really foul things and harmful things.
Right. Have you ever gone, to you're visiting someone and you get a glass of water at their house and you're like, oop, I do not want to drink this water. Right,
because it's not yours and it's different. Now, from a healthcare perspective, and if like a buyer or a seller agent, then this would just kind of be my little add-in bracket here. But I would think from kind of a responsible way and wanting to protect the best interests of both the buyer and seller, it would make logical sense that you would want your both buyer and seller to know that the water, among other things, structural into a house or property, is the well good, piping, anything that like a inspector would do. And we could almost like put you into like another category, a subcategory of inspection, it would be responsible to not just go based on what the lender requires to get the mortgage deal done, but good for a buyer and or seller agent to also have that thought process in their mind as well.
Right. Right. Safety.
Do you deal a lot with real estate agents, or is it mostly directly from the consumer that kind of calls you up?
We do have quite a few real estate agents and home inspectors. Often the real estate agent hires a home inspector, and then the home inspector does the job. And so we deal a lot with home inspectors.
Yep. And kind of my mantra is always a well-informed consumer can really be an asset to the professionals that they're using, because the professionals they're using are having multiple components of a deal, let's say, going on in real estate. And while this is a requirement, there's other things, or making sure the mortgage is good and all that kind of stuff. But that's why having you come on the show just to talk directly to the public and consumer about this, it's great, because once we educate you folks, then you have this on your mind, because really, ultimately, you're the one that's going to have the property for the duration that you have it for. The real estate agent goes back to what they do. The inspector goes back on to another job, and you have your property. So that's kind of where I'm really drilling the point in for y'all, and why Jen's on the air here talking about that. Okay, so the real estate kit. Is there any other kits that you kind of in this same topic in theme here that you would recommend?
Yes, we have a home water quality kit. People are drilling a new well. You should find out at least one time, have a test of many different analytes in it. So like our home water quality kit, that's lead, arsenic, copper, nitrate, nitrite, fluoride, sulfate, chloride, phosphate, uranium. We recently added uranium to that kit as just a regular test, because we feel it's just so important. And the cost on that big kit, that's $245. Still, I feel reasonable. And like I said earlier, you get your baseline on the water, and then yearly check it for coliform, nitrate, nitrite, and arsenic, because those can change as surface water changes as well. And those are, just a small little handful that you would check every year. Yeah.
Almost like an annual wellness check that you get for Medicare at your doctor, or something that your insurance company pays for.
Yes.
In this case, it's really not that expensive to get all that done. That lasts, like you said, for an entire year. Great piece of advice. Jen, if listeners want to use your services now that they've heard this and understand and comprehend this, the real estate kit, the home water testing kit, how should they contact Whitewater Associates to get this process started? What is the sweet spot for you guys to get consumers over there?
Basically two routes. Some people, they like to make a phone call and talk to a person, and we are happy to answer your questions and put together a kit for you. But also, people like to just go on the website. And so www.whitewaterassociates.com, and we have all of our testing kits are available right on the website. You can order, pay online. The kit will be shipped to you, and then you ship it back to us. So it makes it very easy and streamlined. But if you need some advice on a specific problem or concern that you have with your water, we have excellent customer service. We're just a very helpful group that believe in water quality. We want to share that with everybody, and so we're happy to help and answer questions.
From teacher to co-owner to back to teacher again, thanks for teaching us on the show today. the real estate kit, giving us some information about uranium and what we need to do with our drinking water. Jen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Arsenic poisoning over time. The most common reason for long-term exposure is contaminated drinking water. Groundwater most often becomes contaminated naturally. Chronic ingestion of lower levels of arsenic causes visible changes in the skin, hyperpigmentation or hypo, can cause thickening areas of different parts of your hands, can cause peripheral neuropathy, liver or spleen enlargement, contribute to diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive impairment. That's just arsenic. Discussion like this happened last week. There was more. However, if you missed the entire show and want to be more in the know, then log on to my website, drlarryradio.com, hit the subscribe button, follow the links, and listen to that show. It's been uploaded now, which you can listen to at your leisure as a podcast. And here's the final point. If you drink water or swim in it for any reason, a season, just remember to test it for many reasons. Now, beyond that, in addition to the H2O, last week we learned a simple self-test for SI joint pain. It was another Dr. Larry cool tool, and you can call my office for a freebie reminder just in case you're in need of a retip or a tip up. And so that was last week. Hi, yeah. Now today, we'll forget that monologue for a moment and keep remembering those mandatory communication skills all doctors must have, which are inquisitive listening and staying positive. Again, it often means the difference between sick and well. Also, it's another month of the year, so let's keep our thumbs in gear. Why not? Fishing season's coming. So in our tip and trick segment today, we're going to learn a simple self-test for tendinitis of the thumb. And of course, you, Rito Dorito, are calling it out right from the broadcast booth while we crank up the tunes and I hit the center stage for the demo. However, before all that, in order to have good health, you don't need a lot of wealth. So let's flex our forebrain and put some knowledge to the game, because today we're going to talk about, hit it, Pearl.
Dr. Larry brings you another segment of Did You Know?
Bowels. Loose, firm, or runny. Sometimes what we do to our bowels make them want to scowl. The extreme of either constipation or diarrhea can be a short-term aggravation or a serious medical situation, which you will want to hear about this case because the answer was not easy to trace when we get back from the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situations change? When you work with Ryan O'Grady, your Crystal Falls Edward Jones financial advisor, he focuses on what's important to you. You'll work together and use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy, backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And you can partner long-term to help your strategy stay on track. Contact Ryan today at 906-875-3833. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at TriCountyAudiology.com.
This is Cindy from Long Lake, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
I got injured in a co-ed soccer league. They immediately told me that I'm going to have to speak with an orthopedic surgeon. My first thought was OSMS. I knew they worked with athletes in the past, and I knew that they had really good orthopedic surgeons. The team at OSMS really were all on board with getting me back to what my life was. My goals were their goals. I wanted to get back to my best, and they wanted the same thing for me. It's amazing that I can still do what I did before. I'm back thanks to OSMS.
Stop! Herbs aren't safe. The rest of that sentence is, unless used properly. But how do you know what that is? You call an herbalist. I'm the Herb Gal, Karen Mallinger, and I'm here to help you safely navigate the world of herbal medicine. Don't go it alone. Call me today at 844-HERB-GAL or go to the website at herbgal.org and let's get better.
Hello, baby!
Sammy Hagar's Top Rock Countdown is Saturday nights on 99.1 FM.
Rockin' the up!
Actually, it's UP, Sammy, like Upper Peninsula.
Well.
Yeah, but anyway, tune in at 5 p.m. on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 hours of the Red Rocker counting down his favorite classic rock with themes like best album openers, best B-sides, best solo artists. Every week is something new.
Don't miss it.
And if you do miss it, the Sunday afternoon rerun is on at 3.
Mas Tequila!
It's like 10 a.m., dude, but alright. Classic rock and your favorite hits in the Top Rock Countdown on... Can you tell them, Sammy?
WIKB-FM Iron River.
Breaks over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
Welcome back. Bowels, intestines, intestinal distress, diarrhea. A serious medical situation. Listen to this next case because the answer was not easy to trace. A retired elderly lady was having severe loose stools, up to 20 or more per day. It affected her life and husband's life in every way. They had been going to the doctor who scoped, scanned, and planned to figure out the cause or prescribe a medication to put the bowels on pause. Now let me be clear. This was just not a case of food poisoning or Montezuma's revenge. It was an adverse medical event affecting this lady's life like any other serious ailment. Imagine being sick and not getting well. This is where she was at. Now, as I progress through this, I want you to keep in mind a couple of key points. Number one, the cause, which by itself was hard to find and unusual. Number two, the method, the steps I took to help this patient find out what was going on. The analysis is, and if you pick up the strategy, this will help you apply it when it comes to something like this or maybe another healthcare problem. Let me frame this in a bit more and add some context. The history was this. Other than being elderly, there was an extensive medical history, but nothing that jumped out as to the cause of the loose stool. AM was worse, but we're talking 20 plus loose stools throughout the whole day, which means she could not be far from the restroom. Dehydration now was a factor. She was not responding to medications to bind the stool. Labs, tests, and scans showed no root cause. And she had not been out of the country or had a drastic change in diet. However, even changing up foods had no effect. Question. Think for a moment if you or someone you know had a major gastrointestinal distress like this, what were some of the causes? Diet, something in the water, diverticulitis, Crohn's disease. It was none of those. So let me give you the methodology and the analysis. And to qualify, the family are all patients, very intelligent people and hardworking as well. And they did not refer this case to me for a chiropractic adjustment to fix the bowel problems. I know that some chiropractors may attempt that, but it's not true and was not true in this case. They asked me because they know that I will apply a physician-level comprehension and analysis, especially where there are areas of uncertainty and unknowns. And at this point, the current physician was at a loss, and no other physician or practitioner was able to deduce the root cause. After some discussion, my idea was this. Let's create a spreadsheet and analyze medications. So we tasked her son with that, and we did. I'm going to run through a list of the medications. Vitafusion B12, and then also times per day and milligrams per day. I may comment on that. Creon, 3,600 capsules. Ancient Nutrients, 200 milligrams of magnesium. Potassium. Pepsid Complete Chewable Tablets. Budesonide. Some of these I can't pronounce. You have to forgive me on that one. I'm not a pharmacist. 3 milligrams. Diclosamine, or diclotamine, again, 10 milligrams. Zyrtec, metoprolol, now you get the ones I'm used to pronouncing. Nature's Blend Cranberry Concentrate. Allegra, methocarbamol, citrazine, Benadryl. That was the medication list. And all those, for the most part, were taken daily. Some of them were taken as needed. Now, just to give you a little bit definition, bucinidide is used to treat mild to moderate active Crohn's disease and inflammatory bowel disease. Diclosamine, I got that right, treats irritable syndrome, or IBS. It works by relaxing the muscles of your stomach and bowel, which reduces cramping. And it belongs into a group of medication called antispasmodics. Metoprolol, you may be familiar with that one, is used with or without medications to treat high blood pressure or hypertension. Now I want to frame this even closer for you. I had this spreadsheet created to identify quantities of fillers used in the medication. I had a hunch, and I was on a hunt for something. Now, what are fillers in prescription medications? Fillers are inactive ingredients, are substances added to prescription medications to serve various purposes in manufacturing, stability, and the delivery of the drug. Pop quiz. What are some common fillers in your pharmaceutical medications? Do you know? I'll list a few of them. Lactose, cellulose, starch. Lactose is often used in tablets for its compressibility and stability. Cellulose adds bulk and aids in tablet formation. Starch acts as a binder or disintegrant to help tablets break down in the body. So it's not just about the pharmaceutical effect that you're getting. You have to have these binders. Think of like taking a piece of clay and trying to mold it into something. It's got to be molded into a tablet-looking thing. It has to be digestible. Magnesium stearate. It's a lubricant to ease manufacturing and tablet release from molds. Not molds like green mold, black mold stuff. Molds like molds from a cast. Silica. That improves the flowability during production. Calcium phosphate provides bulk and stability. And mannitol, used in chewable tablets as a stabilizer or in injectables. And why are fillers used? I kind of gave you some of the line by line, but let's review this a little differently. Fillers are used for bulk and dosage. Active ingredients are often potent in tiny amounts. So fillers add volume to make tablets or capsules a practical size for handling and swallowing. So if you take a tablet and you look at it, take it out of your pill box, what you're looking at there is not all medication active ingredients. You're looking at fillers, you're looking at the medication itself, and you're looking at a form. That's what it is. It comes out of a mold. Remember, it doesn't come out of you don't pluck this out of a garden. You pluck this out of a lab. Fillers are also used for manufacturing. They improve the flow, the compressibility, and uniformity during production to ensure consistent pills. So now I have potato farmers that come into my office, and they rate or grade their potatoes. Some of the potatoes are for store because they look nice and they look like a potato. And some of the potatoes came out looking a little weird. They're still edible, but they're for a different class of taters. Now, when it comes to your pharmaceutical, if you dump that all into your hand, and some of them look like, let's say a potato that's got, eyes to it or something like that, you're probably not going to ingest it. So they make the pharmaceuticals look identical, carbon copies. Fillers are also used to protect active ingredients from degradation. Got to give it a shelf life. Delivery, they help control how the drug dissolves or releases in the body, so it disintegrates appropriately. Patient experience, fillers can improve taste, texture, or appearance. Please let me know if you have a good tasting medication. I would love to know that. So I don't know how about the taste, but point is that there are fillers used for these reasons. Now, back to the methodology. What I told you is that we created a spreadsheet. And in the medication list that I went through, did anything jump out to you, hearing the medication list, that you think may have caused severe chronic loose stools? Vitafusion B12, Creon, magnesium, potassium, Pepsid, budenoside, diclosamine, Zyrtec, metoprolol, Nature's Blend, cranberry concentrate, Allegra, methocarbamol, cetrazine, Benadryl. If I gave you a multiple choice test, would you be able to maybe nail down the most likely one that could have been causing it? Well, I'll jump ahead a little bit for you. Probably not, because at this point, nobody could. Pharmacist couldn't. Physician can't. We don't know what's going on. But we have a spreadsheet. We have medications. And we know that within those medications are fillers. Or in fact, we can even say a lot of it is fillers. Now, does that mean the fillers are all bad? No. Does it mean that the fillers can cause some type of an effect other than the intended effect? Maybe. But what we have now is context. Is something potentially that is being ingested is causing this horrible event. But what is it? If it's not diet, if it's not just because you're old, which I had a patient tell me yesterday, oh, I'm so sick of hearing that from doctors. And I can say, yeah, you're right, I get that. So I'll say, well, at your age. And see, it could be any age. And they started laughing. But point is that we can't just blame everything on being elderly. So far, we've got to frame this in and zero in even a little bit further. We have to deduce this because there was a combination and an accumulation effect that was happening at a certain time of day. So now this is where spreadsheets and analysis can happen that drew my attention to what could be the cause, and then we eliminated it, and then we had the results, which I definitely want to give you right after the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
We'll be right back with Dr. Larry.
You are unique, and so are your healthcare needs. The last thing you want is someone who's going to take a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to your health. I'm local master herbalist Karen Mallinger, the Herb Gal, and I have a better way. My 48 years of experience allows me to evaluate each client individually and give them the best remedy for their particular situation. You deserve personalized attention when it comes to your health. Call me today at 844-HERBGAL or visit the website at herbgal.org and let's get better.
Your WIKB weather is brought to you by Slumberland Furniture in Iron Mountain.
Did you know Slumberland is the nation's largest lazy boy retailer? Slumberland Furniture, where it's a good life.
On Jackson Street in Iron Mountain, online at slumberland.com. Here's your Iron River and surrounding area forecast. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 64. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 31. High temperatures reach up to 77. Tomorrow, ample sunshine expected. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on WIKB. Right now, 54.
This is Clovis from Iron River. You're listening to Dr. Larry's Radio.
I would never recommend buying a home without having the water tested first. It's cool, it's clear, it looks clean. Oh, it tastes good. Well, what's really in it? And we just recommend that you check it out. I'm Jennifer Toivonen. I'm a co-lab director at Whitewater Associates of AMISA. Coliform bacteria, lead, arsenic, nitrates. You want to be sure that water is safe. I would recommend giving us a call. That way we can tailor the kit that we send to you for what you need. 906-822-7889. Give us a call.
Flow aluminum dock systems are made to bring time at the lake to a whole new level. You can create any layout you want and accessorize it for comfort and fun. They are strong, stable, safe, and they add a beautiful touch to your shoreline that will last indefinitely. Maybe it's time to join the thousands of other families that have turned their dock into a shoreline paradise. Maybe it's time for a flow from Jensen Akins of Conover or Three Lakes Docks and Lifts.
We're back with Dr. Larry.
Welcome back. Bowels. Life-altering loose stools in a patient. The cause, the methodology, the answer. Let's finish it. Case was a few years ago, but the shelf life is forever on this one, which we solved with human intelligence, but I want and decided to see if artificial intelligence could figure it out today. So I plugged in the medication profile to artificial intelligence. I used Grok, which is powered by Colossus. Just like saying those words, and that's one of them. You could use anyone you want. Chat GPT, I think, is another one. But it's all the same. So here's what we got. This is what I got back. So I wanted to see again if artificial intelligence, based on the spreadsheet that I already have within the spreadsheet, is the answer once you understand how to analyze the data. I wanted to see if it could analyze it. So here we go. I plugged it in. This is what we got back. I have to read this to you because you're not here and there's no video, so I have to read some of this to you. Analysis. Could any of this cause loose stools was my question. And here's what I got back from artificial intelligence. Loose stools or diarrhea are common side effects of certain medications and supplements, such as those that can affect the GI tract, electrolytes, or gut motility. Below, I'll evaluate each item on your list, and so it does. B12 vitamin, side effect, B12 is generally well tolerated, is what AI says, and the likelihood is low. Creon, side effects, by the way, it's a pancreatic enzyme replacement used for conditions like pancreatic insufficiency. Common side effects include diarrhea, especially if the dose is too high or not taken with food, and can alter digestion. Likelihood is moderate. Nope. Before you raise your hand and be like, I know the answer, hang on. Ancient nutrients, 200 milligrams, or magnesium capsules. Side effects, especially at 200 milligram capsule, are well known for causing loose stools or diarrhea, particularly in forms of like magnesium. Take these as needed. Likelihood is high. Maybe we have a trend. Potassium. Potassium chloride can cause GI irritation, including diarrhea, nausea, abdominal discomfort, especially the extended release. Likelihood, per artificial intelligence, is moderate. Pepsid, complete, treats heartburn. Likelihood is moderate. Budesonide is a corticosteroid used for inflammations. And again, apologize for that one. I didn't practice that one. Likelihood is moderate for causing some loose stool or diarrhea. And the rest of the medication, the Zyrtec, the metoprolol, etc., were from very low to moderate. So that was kind of the range, but most of them were very low to low. So that was the medication list as far as what it goes. Now, some of those medications, again, to review for you: methocarbamol, which is a muscle relaxant, Benadryl, very low likelihood. Key culprits for loose stools from artificial intelligence: Ancient Nutrients magnesium capsule has a high risk. Moderate risk was the Creon, and low risk were the rest. So the recommendations from AI was to review the magnesium, check the Creon, monitor the Pepsid, consult your doctor. Well, from what I recall, the supplements, we eliminated some part or all, and it wasn't making any difference or whatsoever. So basically, from that moment forward, we're like, it's got to be something else. So again, something else drew my attention. My hunch was that it was coming from the fillers. And by the way, we're talking about a patient in a case. You can't just take a patient off all their medications at once. That could cause some other medical event. So it had to kind of be a stair-step, work around, watch out. We've got to be strategic about this because we don't want any other mishaps. So it can't just be, stop off the medication, and it's got to be it. Also, we want to know the main cause and the factor. So no smoking gun yet, but if you were doing your own research and this was happening to you and you were doing an artificial intelligence based on the list I just gave, you still would have been in a dead end. So AI so far wasn't able to get to where we needed to go. Now let's go back to the fillers. One of them, called magnesium stearate, caught my attention. And so I had them run a spreadsheet on which of the medications had the highest amount of that or cumulative amount for the day. So again, if we're going back to research, what I did this time for you for this show, because I didn't do it back then, but for this show, fast forward, I typed it into the internet, magnesium stearate. Can it cause diarrhea? Yes. High levels can. When magnesium stearate is consumed in large amounts, it can act as a laxative, irritating the lining of the intestines and leading to increased bowel movements, including diarrhea. Whew, have the answer. But let's be reasonably discerning. Let's ask all sources. Let me go to artificial intelligence, type in the same answer. Can magnesium stearate, the filler in pharmaceuticals, cause diarrhea? AI's answer, no. Magnesium stearate is unlikely to cause diarrhea in the amounts used in medications. It's an inactive ingredient used as a lubricant in tablets, capsules, in a very small quantity. It's less than 1% of the tablet's weight, often only 1 to 10 milligrams per dose. So now we're at a crossroads. Internet says yes. AI says no. Who do we believe? Where do we go? All the while, let's say you're the patient and you're miserable and also dehydrated, and now your electrolytes are getting depleted and you can't replenish yourself because no matter what you do, it goes right through you. Let's add human analysis and intelligence to this whole thing. On the spreadsheet, back to that. The amount of magnesium stearate in some of them was 0. However, in metoprolol, it had 50 milligrams in there, and the methocarbamol had 750, and the citrazine had 10. And the cumulative amount of all the filler for magnesium stearate was around 70-ish per day. Now, at that level, it's still not at a threshold for an average patient, but we're dealing with an elderly person. Now I've got to bring this back into context because it makes sense, whose stomach can't tolerate certain things as well. Look, I'm 50. I notice I can't tolerate peanut butter as well as I like to, and I love crunchy peanut butter. But something about peanut butter now, I just can't have as much as I like, so I got to be careful. Things change as we age, and our intestines change. I think we can all agree with that. So, the methocarbamol and the PM medication had high levels of filler magnesium stearate. The strategy was based on the methodology and analysis was to remove the PM dosage, the 2 highest levels of magnesium stearate. We asked the physician, they agreed. And the result? From over 20 loose stools per day to 1 to 2 normal bowel movements. It was the excessive amount of filler, the magnesium stearate, in an elderly patient or even a compromised patient can cause severe chronic diarrhea. Now, take that and scale that back a little bit. Maybe you have intermittent loose stools. Maybe you're not as affected. So a couple of points here. Of course, you got the answer, which is very important. But arriving at the answer is critical. We had to go through a process where we looked at things in a spreadsheet format, started extracting data out of that data, and then from that data make a logical conclusion and then test that conclusion and find out what it was and then prove it true or false without harming the patient. This is what we were able to accomplish. So as you have intestinal problems, not all of them are just because you had a late night Taco Bell run. Not all of them are just because, well, maybe that's just how you are now and you just got loose stools. And it's not always because of maybe you've got a new food allergy. I call it the low-hanging fruit excuses. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it requires deeper analysis. It requires some further thought. It sometimes requires multiple people involved with somebody at the top who's kind of pointing and telling which direction to go to figure the problem out. So again, think about the methodology, think about your health problem, think about where you're suffering from, and start going through the process. Professionally and personally have applied this process in multiple different medical issues for patients and also even situations that come up in our personal life as a family. And that has gotten us through situations that were difficult when it comes to certain health problems. We're all human. We get sick. We have ailments. We have issues. Now, do all problems go away? Of course not. It's not an all or nothing thing. But when it comes to knocking out issues and being able to solve problems, this is one way to do that. It requires effort, analysis, human intelligence, not artificial intelligence in this case. Although, as you heard, I still utilize internet and artificial intelligence for the purpose of this show to kind of give us information that we need. So we just kept picking from the tree, but still data had to be analyzed. Now, don't misinterpret the show. The show isn't to pitch humans are smarter than artificial. It's not the point. The point was the methodology and how to run through a problem so you can figure things out. So consider the fillers in the pharmaceuticals, the amount that you're taking and the time you're taking per day if you're having loose stool problems. All right, upcoming announcements and our tip and trick of the week after the break. This is the Dr. Larry Radio Show.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at TriCountyAudiology.com.
This is Jackie from Vulcan, Michigan, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
Shop local. Make your money mean more when you support these local businesses.
At West End Home Furnishings, downtown Iron River, we have 2 showrooms full of furniture for every room in your home. Need carpet? We have that too. We're open Monday through Saturday and can be found online or by calling 265-1401.
Scott Stapleton and LTS Services, serving the UP in northern Wisconsin. Drainage and erosion control systems, landscaping and building site prep services, installs, maintenance, and grading for your dirt and gravel drives. 715-902-0036 for LTS Services in Iron River.
Wild Rivers Realty is now Stevens Real Estate. Same trusted local people now in Iron Mountain, Florence, and Iron River. Over $100 million in sales in 2023. Let us find your dream home.
Reach thousands of local listeners for one low price. Call WIKB at 906-265-9622 to learn more.
It's TT Palooza. 60 years on the line. June 21st on the Iron County Museum campus. Celebrating 60 years of telephone time.
Sprawling the entire museum campus, this will be a party.
Food, drink, and tasty treat vendors, live music, games, prizes, giveaways, 50/50s.
Alpha Michigan beer and a signature TT TT cocktail.
A cornhole tournament, pasta eating contest, and a whole lot more.
Fun for the kids.
And kids at heart.
With games, prizes, bounce house, face painting, ice cream, and more.
Casual fun and games all over the grounds, plus presentations, demonstrations, and entertainment from local businesses and nonprofits. Full day of fun for the whole family.
It all kicks off at 9 a.m. with the first ever Telephone Time live show.
If you're a local business or nonprofit who wants to be involved or are interested in bringing your food truck or stand to the event, reach out now at 906-265-9622. But hurry, space is limited and filling up fast.
Mark your calendar and join your friends in your community for the first ever TT Palooza.
Saturday, June 21st at the Iron County Historical Museum.
Break's over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
Okay, a couple of things before we wrap up the show. I should say a lot of things. I need some space for this. I got a lot of shows I'm working on coming up for this season. Here's a list of possible upcoming shows and some updates. You get that shiny new hip and bionic knee. You talk with someone like me, the surgeon, nurses, and more, but how often do you ever get to hear directly from the manufacturers and distributors of these parts? What kind of information do they have to offer you, the potential patient? So I had an impromptu survey with a lady I referred to have both her hips replaced. And I asked, do you know what type of hip you have? What's the hardware in there? You got a Chevy in the garage. What you got inside the leg there and the hips? She goes, you know what, Dr. Larry, I have no idea. I asked another guy, patient, that shiny new knee you got. You know what kind you got? What's the brand name of it? It's like, I really don't know. So I teed up this question to an orthopedic surgeon, and he said, I got the guy for you. And so he made a phone call. And so I called the guy, and he's from Johnson & Johnson. Big, huge, supplies one of the top 4, if not the top, the artificial implants. And he's excited to come on the show. And he says, I got some great tidbits for you and for your listeners, and it's things that we just don't think about with these artificial implants. And so hips, knees, I think shoulders. Don't know quite exactly everything we're going to cover yet, so it's just initial. But going to talk to him hopefully this month coming up soon. So these things are in development. Another interview, have you ever heard of the medication amiodarone? Well, it's a heart medication with serious potential side effects. And if prescribed by your physician, they should follow the protocols to make sure you can tolerate the medication. And if there are serious consequences, you need to find those out as soon as possible or even avoid them. I'll be interviewing a local lady whose husband was on this medication, and you will find out what happened to him and his lungs from the amiodarone and how she was handled by administrators. Also, Patient Mind's going to come on the air. She's the proud owner of 2 brand new hips, minus 1 gallbladder. Sounds kind of common, right? Well, she received the proper diagnosis and treatment. The way she got it was not so common. Back to the methodology again. You want to hear how and why. I have Dr. Devin McCaslin and his mom, Lori LaFleur. They're going to come on the air together. We're going to talk about hearing stuff. And Devin received his PhD from Wayne State, joined Vanderbilt, went to Mayo, and now he got recruited by the University of Michigan, and he's the director of audiology program at Michigan Medicine. Then this morning, heard back from the CEO of a national CBD company. Here's why. We're going to do a pre-interview. I don't know quite yet. I kind of like to pre-screen people I don't necessarily know, but I can see that their business especially has some tangible benefit for you. It's a bit of the wild, wild west out there with CBD. Many are taking gummies, topicals, smoking it. So I want to try to bring some sanity to it for you. And he and I are going to talk next week. We'll do a pre-interview. It's going to be like an educational CEU to understand from a clinical perspective how to properly use these products and formulations, what they all mean. The CEO of Foot Levelers, one of the longest-running large orthotic companies for your feet, and they also make custom pillows. Her grandfather was the one that had the first patent on the cervical pillow. She's coming up, going to be on the air soon. We're going to interview her. One of the owners of Queen City Running from Marquette, Houghton, and now Iron Mountain. She's going to come on the show. Again, had her on a few years ago. Going to talk about running shoes. And special thanks to Rito Dorito, the quietest man in radio. Keaton designed my layout for the radio show and on my website. And while we're thinking about that, don't forget there's the Ask Dr. Larry link on WIKB.com. You can email your health question to me, and throughout the week, I'll look at it, respond by email, and if it has on-air relevance, I'll bring it on air. Name not used, of course, and I just had somebody respond back and saw them and said, thank you, by the way, Dr. Larry, for answering my question about such and such. And I said, yeah, no problem. Don't forget to check out my website, drlarryradio.com. There are 3 tabs to click. You heard the start of the show, the first one there, real easy to see tabs. There's a Join Free tab that will put you on my email list. You'll get free weekly updates and show topics. All of my shows, including the one you just heard today, are and will be uploaded and ready for you. After a week, there's a subscription option to that and helps sponsor and support the show. One final announcement, too. We're getting into the tip and trick. Maybe a few more. I have a job opening. Salary position at my office, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., office manager. Salary is $35,000 per year. I got some other fringe benefits for you as well, too. Looking for somebody that can multitask, can learn, stable, do the job well, handle patients with people are in pain, and they want to be served. And you've got to be able to handle all of that and do some of the insurance billing. 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. $35,000 a year salary. You can call my office or email me, 906-875-3215. Or just hop on my website or go on Google, and you can email me if you are interested, and we'll talk. Looking for a solid front desk manager. So, a bunch of packed shows coming up. And keeping things in mind, I'm trying to help you. I had one patient ask me, about certain, different things like supplementation, etc. I said, here's the thing. What I do in my show in my office, if you notice, is I don't have supplements and products and things. I don't sell those types of commodities. My big thing is information, how to understand information, and trust and credibility. That's it. That's what I got. That's what I lean on. It doesn't have a high ticket dollar amount, so I had somebody else have me look at a national radio guide. So you got to check him out. He's another doctor. He's just like you, Dr. Larry. And I went over to the website and saw him. Yeah, he's got a big show, big following. And I was like, but he's not like me. Right away, I saw lots of things that are being sold. So now I will bring you things and tell you things maybe you should or consider buy. I just had a patient buy a $300 cervical traction unit for his neck, and I said, look, you can go bottom line or bottom end or top end, but for your situation you go top end. It's $300. It's worth the buy. And he bought it. I said, but this is going to save you about $2,500 in care if you just do this at home, and I'll teach you how to do it. So he did. So there are times when products come into place and when you need to buy stuff, but bottom line is the show is built on exactly what you just heard today and the other things you've heard. So appreciate you listening in. Reed, it's time for the weekly tip and trick. You head up to the broadcast booth. I'm going to head out center stage for the demo because today we're going to learn a simple self-test for tendinitis of the thumb. It's gardening season. It's fishing time. We got to have our thumbs working. Here you go.
All right, folks, here Dr. Larry. Currently, he's got his hand extended forward. He's curling his thumb into his palm, and then he's just grabbing that, making a fist and casting like a fishing rod.
Reed's learning how to fish. Caught some big ones last year. And you got to have the casting hand right. Yeah. Tendinitis of the thumb, it hurts. I just analyzed an 18-year-old patient yesterday who has tendinitis of the thumb. On the entrance sheet, she said wrist pain. And I was like, okay, let's take a look at the wrist. And I couldn't figure it out. From there, I was like, oh, it can't be the wrist. And then I went, let's check out the thumb. And she goes, oh, that's the pain. That's it. I go, oh, I got it. It's the thumb tendon that's causing your wrist pain. So sometimes, again, how things are labeled can steer us in the right or wrong direction. So sometimes you can have wrist pain and it's coming from your thumb. Fancy term is called stenosing tenosynovitis of the abductor pollicis longus and brevis. Boom. To even have that one written down, I just said it. Right in the old noodle. Yeah, that's basically what I just said in Latin is your thumb tendons are inflamed. And my right one is killing me right now. I'll have to do something about that because it's getting chronic. But it can affect things. You know, you got to have that thumb working for you. You need it. You'd be surprised, like your thumb and your big toe, what they do for you. They're the powerhouse of the hands and feet. So last week I did the stone foot, like a numb feeling on the bottom of your foot. This week, tendonitis of the thumb. Who knows? Maybe next week I'll do index finger. I won't do middle finger. We'll skip that one. We'll go to ring finger maybe after that. And then you got to have your pinky. Right? How much power is in a pinky? Not much, but there's use. Pinkies are fun. They're nice. They're friendly. They're part of the hand. I've never done a tip and trick for the pinky yet, Reed. I can't believe it. Maybe. I don't even know if there is one. It's got to be one. Okay, folks, remember you can listen to me live right here every week to learn how to achieve a better back and better health. Or if you're having a pain or problem, I'm here to help. My number, if you're having a pain or problem, is 906-875-3215. Don't forget, I'm also hiring. Have a good day, boy on the board, and I'll see you next week, everybody.
WIKB, Iron River, Crystal Falls, Iron Mountain, Kingsford.